You're not going to believe what we've got today. So get comfortable, smash that like button, and let's get right into it. Because what's happening inside SoFi right now isn't just a hot streak. It feels like a message to the entire AFC. There's a veteran-driven standard being passed down in that locker room. There's a messy situation on the offensive line that could swing this weekend. There's a mock draft pick that's already splitting the Bolt fam. And then there's Justin Herbert showing emotion in a way we almost never see. So let me ask you straight up, do you truly trust this team when the pressure tightens and every snap feels like January? You know that feeling when a team finally looks like it grew up at the perfect time? It's not only scheme, it's not only Greg Roman's calls, and it's definitely not just the defense playing lights out. There's something you can't measure on a stat sheet that wins December, real leadership. And Denzel Perryman put that on full display, rattling off name after name from the 2015 Chargers, like he was flipping through a family photo album. Manti Te'o, Melvin Ingram, Cavell Connor, Donald Butler. And his point was simple, and honestly kind of brutal. When you're a young guy, your head is everywhere. You're trying to survive the schedule, the speed, the pressure, the daily grind. And it's the vets who teach you how to be where your mind is. That sounds like a quote you'd put on a poster. But in the NFL, it's the difference between staying calm and melting down when the season gets serious. Now stack that against the moment the Chargers are living in, 10-4, 6 wins in the last 7, and this Cowboys game feeling like a doorway into the playoffs. And I'm not being dramatic. A win over Dallas, plus a Texans loss or tie on Sunday afternoon, or a Colts loss or tie on Monday night, can punch that postseason ticket. But here's the real point. It's not just the math. It's the mindset. It's a locker room that's been through enough to understand what these weeks demand, and it's veterans making sure the younger guys don't get lost in the emotion. Derwin James said something that hits hard. He started his career on a 12-4 team in 2018 and thought winning like that just happens. Then reality sets in. It doesn't. That's why he keeps talking about the standard, a standard that stays even when players change, coaches change, anything changes. And you see it in these little moments that actually matter, like Diane Henley sprinting in to celebrate with Tony Jefferson like it's recess at school. And the wild part is, Jefferson had been ejected, but he's still there, waiting for teammates, setting an example, building that I've got you environment. That's chemistry you can't fake. And when Jefferson's out, who steps in? Marcus Williams, 29 years old, 109 NFL games on his resume, elevated from the practice squad, and he plays almost every snap, makes tackles, holds the line. Jesse Minter summed it up perfectly. This is a 70-man roster. Harbaugh even reinforces it with Scott Matlock. Yes, a defensive lineman fullback, talking up his ba-boop blocking technique like it's some family secret. That isn't just goofy Harbaugh talk. That's identity. That's the Chargers finding a way to play their brand of football, even with major offensive line absences like Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater. So let me throw this at you. If the culture is real, who's going to be the unexpected hero in Dallas when things get tight? Because the next story today is about the offense. And it might light up the comment section like a thunderstorm. And while we're all still buzzing about the locker room feeling strong, there's a situation that's uncomfortable to even bring up. Because not every chapter of a winning season is pretty. Some are messy, confusing, and full of internal noise. That's where Mekhi Becton comes in. Remember when he arrived and people talked about him like the premier signing of the offseason? The idea was clear. Size, power, experience. Someone who could stabilize the interior and take pressure off Justin Herbert. On paper, it made sense. In reality, it's been one of the most frustrating tension points of the entire 2025 offense. Becton has openly voiced how aggravating this season has been, and it's not hard to read between the lines. He brought up the Jaguars game, where he was pulled without a clear explanation. Then the weird rotation against the Chiefs with Trevor Penning. Harbaugh said it was injury-related. Greg Roman offered a different, confusing explanation. And when the head coach and the offensive coordinator aren't speaking the same language publicly, alarms go off. For a player, that uncertainty eats at you. For an offensive lineman, where confidence and rhythm are everything, it's even worse. The irony is Becton had a real career revival in Philadelphia. He moved inside, played on one of the most dominant offensive lines we've seen in years, and looked like he had found his lane. Then he comes to Los Angeles, the tackles go down, and even playing guard he struggles. The numbers don't help. According to Pro Football Focus, he's near the bottom among guards who've played significant snaps this year. And it hasn't just been performance. He's dealt with injuries, availability issues, and constant disruption. It's hard to build anything when the ground keeps shifting under your feet. That rotation with Penning, injury or not, feels like a breaking point. Because when you combine a big contract, underwhelming play, and unclear communication, it usually ends one way: separation. And financially, the Chargers wouldn't be trapped. He's on a 2-year, $20 million deal, and a move would come with about $2.5 million in dead cap. With the Chargers projected to have around $110 million in cap space, this team has flexibility. Does it hurt? Absolutely. Nobody wanted this to go sideways, but it also says something about maturity if the organization recognizes when a fit isn't working, because forcing it can cost you in January. Herbert needs clarity. The offense needs stability. And this offensive line storyline still isn't finished, because what comes next involves the future, and a decision that could split the Bolt fam right down the middle. Here's the tricky part. While the Chargers are living in the present like it's playoff football already, the future is already knocking. Winning 6 of 7, beating both of last season's Super Bowl teams, and still sitting with the 26th overall pick in next April's draft, that's not a bad problem, but it creates a real dilemma. The Chargers of today look ready to fight. The Chargers of tomorrow have to decide where to invest so this window doesn't slam shut. With a top 5 defense and an offense held together by duct tape because of injuries, plus Jim Harbaugh having to use something like 12 different offensive linemen, most fans naturally think the same thing. Help the offense, help the line, add weapons, give Herbert more protection and more answers. But the latest USA Today mock draft throws gasoline on that conversation. They have the Chargers going defense and taking Florida defensive tackle Caleb Banks, 6'6", 330 pounds. A true interior force with real pass rush upside. And now the debate starts, instantly. Banks had his season derailed by a broken foot, which always raises questions. But the write-up is basically a warning. Don't sleep on him. He's not just a massive body to plug the run game. For a guy that size, he has surprising ability to affect the pocket. Pressure up the middle changes everything. It makes edge rushers more dangerous. It forces quicker throws. It turns 3rd and long into panic. And think about what that could look like in Jesse Minter's front. You're already talking about a group with Khalil Mack, Tier Tart, Odafe Owe, and Tuli Tuipolo too. Adding another disruptive interior piece isn't about replacing anyone. It's about keeping the heat on when the games get heavier, when offenses try to lean on you, when you're playing bully ball in January. But then comes the uncomfortable question. Can you justify spending another premium asset on defense when your offense has been scrambling all year? Can you look at Herbert playing through a lot, even dealing with a fracture on his non-throwing hand after surgery, and say, relax, the defense will handle it? The only reason we're even having this argument is because the Chargers are winning now. If this team were 7-7, nobody would care about pick 26. But success pushes the future into the background. The Cowboys game is proof. With a little help around the league, the Chargers are not just looking at a playoff spot. They're still in the mix for the best wildcard position and even sniffing the AFC West conversation. So every snap right now matters more than any mock draft. And that ramps up the intensity. Because while we're debating 2026, the Chargers are treating 2025 like it's everything. And just when you think today can't get any bigger, you see Justin Herbert do something he almost never does. Because if there's one rare thing with Herbert, it's emotion spilling out. He's usually ice cold, controlled, calm even when everything around him is chaos. And chaos has absolutely been part of this season. An injured offensive line, weekly shuffling, constant pressure, and then Herbert dealing with his own issue. That fracture on his non-throwing hand, surgery 2 weeks ago. A lot of quarterbacks would show cracks. Herbert hasn't. He's just kept moving forward. And the context makes it even stronger. This 10-4 record hasn't been built on pretty consistent offensive fireworks. It's been built on resilience, on the defense showing up, on the team surviving ugly moments. And the symbol of that was the gritty 16-13 win over the Chiefs. It wasn't a clean game. It was physical, tense, and decided by details. But it mattered. Not just because it was Kansas City, because that win basically slammed the door on the Chiefs' playoff hopes and gave the Chargers real control over their destiny. Herbert didn't put up video game numbers. He went 19 of 29 for 210 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. But if you watched, you saw it. He looked more comfortable than the week before. He was sharper, he made faster decisions, and he led the offense the way playoff football demands, even while dealing with limitations. But the moment that hit the hardest wasn't during the game, it was after. Herbert, with a big smile, was high-fiving fans as he left. That's not normal for him. That's not robot quarterback energy. That looked like a quiet release, like a guy who has felt every pound of this season and finally let it show for a second. And that tells me this is real to him. This is personal. This team is earning his trust. Now the road is clear. Cowboys, Texans, Broncos, win in Dallas, and the Chargers' playoff odds jump to 99%. That's almost a checkmate, but only if they don't stumble. Herbert knows it. Harbaugh knows it. The locker room knows it. And that rare moment of Herbert showing joy, that wasn't a finale. That felt like a warning to the league. So here's where we land. Veterans are enforcing a standard. The young guys are buying in. Tough decisions are coming on the offensive line. The future is already sparking debate, and your quarterback is showing you exactly how much this matters. This isn't just a Chargers team on a run. This is a team learning how to win under pressure, the kind of pressure that decides a playoff run. Now I want it from you. What made you feel most confident today? The locker room culture or Herbert's leadership and toughness? Drop it in the comments, debate with the Bolt fam, hit that like button to support the channel, and subscribe, because this lightning isn't fading anytime soon.